Hello, baby.
Pop.
Hello. Hey, what's
You-
up, Pop? Pop.
Oh, that was of course. You were coming into a dark room, and that's why you're saying hello like that because you didn't know. But I just turned on the. This is for the benefit of the listener. I just turned on the lights and popped a bottle of champagne because, of course, it's our 100th episode.
Woo!
Do you always say that whenever you walk into a room, like hello?
Yeah, I do. I do a little bit of What character is that? Hello. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Jim Carrey as the indomitable
Rex.
Count Olaf.
Yeah.
Hello. I am
Yeah.
your guardian.
Yeah. Let's
How
bring
do you-
MJ over here.
Yeah. Hey, MJ, what's up? Oh, you're shy? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
He's gonna get a kick out of editing this.
Let's hope so.
You know, he never said. I mean, not that he's not here, but he never said he wasn't free for this. We just
I
decided
think
to.
no, he did say it. Again, I'm kind of breaking the kayfabe here, but he did tell us that he wasn't free. To be fair to MJ, because I
But then
also know he's gonna listen to this when he's editing and be like, "Wait a minute, I told the guys."
But then he's also gonna say, because okay, here's the full thing here.
Okay.
We were discussing the plans for tonight, and he goes, "Oh wait, today's not Sunday, which was yesterday." Oh no.
Sure.
Anyway, he said he got his schedule
Today
mixed
is
up.
January 23rd. To be
Yeah.
clear,
To be clear, let me be clear.
it is 5:56 p.m. So if you want to
Yeah.
mark on your calendar when we
Mark
recorded
it.
this in the
Yeah.
past.
I think MJ got off at 6. Well, I mean, he's not. I mean, he's here. Wave. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
100 years.
100 years. Yeah, since 1923 we've been doing this podcast. It's crazy, right?
Actually, MJ, could you play a clip of what it was like back in 1923? Well, say, Spencer, how do you feel about those spear point collars that we're wearing every day because that's the only color available?
They're so new, and I love the fact that they're detachable or attached, because it's the 20s. Let's
a
put
time-
on some stovepipe pants.
You seen those rah-rah suits? Those are crazy as hell.
I'm investing in the stock market, and it's going swell.
When did it crack? 1920?
29.
Oh, 29. I was like,
Yeah.
it'd be weird to do that if it was 1922, but that's
Yeah.
when The Great Gatsby took place, right?
Yeah. I voted for Harding. I think he was president.
That's a good trivia question, actually.
Yeah.
Whoa, what's that?
The Teapot Dome scandal.
I was actually gonna go for like, it's us from the future.
Yeah, okay. Well, wait a minute. We have laser guns, and we dropped our accents. The versions of us from the future are coming to kill the past versions of us. It's a Looper situation.
And one of us has really bad makeup to make us look like, what's his name?
Bruce
Bald-
Willis.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah, you should
Yeah.
watch Looper for the bonus. That movie freaked me out when I was a kid. Like the scene where the guy, they cut off all his limbs in the past and he starts losing limbs in the future. That like freaked me out for like 2 weeks.
What? It's also, isn't the kid like, he's called the Rainmaker? Is it because like he makes like blood like rain? Like he's like a killer, right? Like that's the
I
whole thing.
guess so.
This kid is gonna grow up to be like a serial killer or like a gangster that kills a bunch of people.
Well, because the plot of the movie, I think, is in the future the cops are so advanced, the only place you could hide your crimes are in the past, right? In time. I think
Yeah.
that's okay. That's such a cool movie. It's not good, but it's like, man, what a fun idea, you know?
What if that's the best movie Ryan Johnson's done? TLJ. Anyway,
Yeah, that's right.
It's 100 years, 100 episodes.
That's right, 100
And
episodes.
you know what? We've got a very special guest. It's Don Pardo from the past.
Yeah. It's done with musical guest Ryan Johnson.
Glass Onion. I love subverting things. Hello.
Yeah. He's,
Every nerdy character we have is the same voice.
Apparently he got he I don't think he's a style guy, but he did a couple things for Hodinkee, so maybe we can get him on an episode and talk about Star Wars and watches or something.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I've watched when I'm like bored at work
Uh-huh.
or like waiting for stuff, I put on, I'm actually one of those guys who puts on something from YouTube. And so I
Yeah.
don't I don't watch gamers. I watch Lego reviewers, but I also watched a bunch of like director like
Mm-hmm.
interviews,
Oh, those are fun,
like the
yeah.
Hollywood Reporter stuff and like
Yeah, the
directors on
scene breakdowns.
directors.
He's like
Scene-
good on those scene breakdowns. Like
Yeah, well, I was
like
gonna
some people don't like Ryan Johnson. There's a lot of Twitter people who don't like him, and obviously us Star Wars people. But you know
Yeah.
what? I'll say it here. He seems like a cool guy. He seems fun to hang out with.
Yeah, he
I'd like to
seems
talk about
cool.
movies with him.
And he does wear desert boots with
Yeah.
like trout, and he always wears a sport coat. He's kind of like Christopher Nolan, where like it's not
Mhm.
good, but he does wear like a sport coat and like a button up on set.
Yeah, I mean,
We're
hey,
gonna get
like,
director style at some point.
I
We're
feel
gonna get
and I feel like
guy
that
on
kind
here.
of connects to what we're talking about, because directing is kind of another job where you don't like a sport coat is pretty. That's all you. It does the job. You know, you don't need anything.
That whole stuttering thing.
Yeah,
to
I didn't know where I was going with that. I don't know.
Someone said in one of the critiques that I think is someone that we both know.
Uh-huh.
Someone goes like, "Yeah, take that back to your low effort podcast." And I'm like, "What makes it low effort?" And they're like, "Oh, maybe it's because we just start sentences and we don't know where it's gonna
We
go."
just wing it, baby. I don't know. I feel like doing improv in high school has really. I don't.
Made your life better, or
No, I think it has. I don't know. I'm just like, anytime I have to go up and speak, I hope this doesn't ruin any career things for me. Anytime someone's like, "Hey, can you go like talk to these people for a couple minutes about whatever?"
yeah.
I always just like wing it. I never go in with. It's better to wing it sometimes, I think.
Well, I love. I mean, I love having conversations, and we'll get to that in a second. But I think
We love
it is
conversing.
fun. Yeah, I think it's fun to kind of like just launch yourself in there. However, I am also aware that people might not be in on how. To me, conversations are inherently funny to me. Like it's just, I don't know what
You're
that.
talking to someone else. It's crazy, right?
it's crazy, and
Yeah.
so I think some people may not think that that's funny, and so I think some people my style of conversing might not
Yeah.
carry over.
Sometimes I listen to a lot of the podcasts I listen to are very, I guess, the same level of effort that we probably put in.
Hell yeah,
The one time I kind of got annoyed is I was listening to a pod. It was like on a Patreon, so of course I was
Yeah.
paying for it.
Yeah.
And the host kept like fucking up the audio, but it wasn't like, but it was like, so there would be mistakes and then just like a minute of silence or something as he's fixing it. I'm like, bro, I'm paying for this. You can't fucking cut that out.
Yeah, at
Like-
least we're not that low effort, okay?
Yeah.
Even if Spencer or someone has to leave the room, I still carry on talking. Hell, sometimes I'm talking and Spencer's not even there, and you'll never know. Okay,
Yeah, until we start doing the video podcast.
Yeah, you never
Yeah.
know. We're so good at this. But anyway,
Another 100 episodes.
this is style and direction, by the way.
Oh,
Adventure
yeah,
podcast
style
without-
and
without
direction.
any stuffiness, snuffleupagus.
Yeah, nuffy gas.
Yeah.
Did you stuff enough of gas into your car?
I think I did actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Today this is gonna be an interesting episode because we're gonna dive deep on Spencer's style
Yeah.
here. This is I guess it didn't inherently have to be just about his style, but by virtue of him being what this is.
Yeah, so we're talking about. I'll break the. I mean, it's the title. I don't know why we always like try to hide the topic. It's the title.
Here's the thing. I think it's because sometimes as we finish the episode, we realize the title that we wrote down originally may not be all encompassing.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Today we're talking about what I call reporter style or journalist style, which is.
That's right.
I mean, that's what I am.
That is who you are.
It is who I are.
I am what I am.
Yeah, but I'm currently, as we're recording, I'm in my last semester getting my journalism degree.
That's right.
I am the editor-in-chief of my school paper. I can't really talk. Maybe some stuff lined up after, but I can't talk about it really. So
Don't set yourself up. Don't count your eggs.
But exactly. But anyway, it's one of those things where I mean, obviously I think about clothes a lot, but I do think about specifically the clothes that I wear, like that I want, that I wear to do the job that I want to do, or just kind of like I don't know. I feel like this episode we were talking about it a little bit before we recorded. It's going to be like it's going to be an exercise in cinematic dressing, I think, because this is just like
specifically for Spencer.
Yeah, but this
and
is
the
just
people
kind of
who-
like how I dress the character of me.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Because
we've never really talked about. I mean, we did a little bit about yours, but I think this is interesting because as I saw your notes on this, like there is something here, and if my as I have Abed brain, I have this need to like codify different tropes, and there is something unifying here about journalist, reporter style, or whatever you want to call it.
Because what I have in my mind, this is just workwear book core. Essentially, if you want to give it like buzzwords, then it's workwear book core.
I think say whoop core.
Whoop core.
Write that down, MJ. Whoop. Whoop.com. I really wanted to do this because I think it's great that you brought it up since because I don't have one of these actually.
Because I wanted to do like a full episode on just like writer style, because I feel like I don't know. I feel like you can make some this might be making some stretches here, but I feel like you could maybe draw a line through the type of writing that you and I do and our individual styles. Like I feel like there's something there to your kind of like maximalist like blog post. Like I'm not trying
and my outfits too. Yeah, it's like there's collar bars and shit. And then when you're reporting, just the facts, man. You got a jacket, you got a shirt. Okay, well, how about this? So you said like rugged or bookcore, whatever.
Rugged bookcore.
Yeah. What is it about journalists and write? Let's focus on the journalist part because the writing might be a separate thing. But journalists, what is it about journalists as people that you see would necessitate like a book core, which I see is like an indie preppy kind of a thing, and the utilitarianism of workwear? I'm teeing you up because I know I kind of have an idea, but go ahead.
Well, because I think a lot of it is just this is like observations of people that I meet in journalism, like older journalists, because younger journalists just dress like young people, I guess.
With their Adidas and their track pants.
Yeah, but and like this is also a lot of stuff. Hey, cinematic dressing of me having watched a bunch of like journalism movies and stuff like that. But I mean, it's the job of it's like what you're doing is it is a public facing job if you're out there like covering stuff. So you have to I like to make a good impression when I'm meeting people. Yeah. Especially if you're just doing the things that you have to do as a journalist or as a reporter, which is generally like approaching people cold who probably, maybe don't want to talk to you or are uncomfortable like talking to strangers. And so I think it's always good to make a good first impression there. And then, it's like, the other thing is obviously a lot of journalists are academics, which sometimes can be a little bit annoying. But anyway, I mean, like a lot of the people that you meet, or that like a lot of the big names in journalism, like especially back in the day, did go to some of the big universities and stuff like that, and so there is that influence of like East Coast Ivy style.
Yeah, I see that a lot. In my head, a journalist, the good ones in my head, they do have like that Ivy lean to it. Mm-hmm. Would you say that like, were you aware of this because you originally were like a history major, and I'm sure we both know academics do dress Ivy. But were you aware of like journalists?
I mean, obviously, like people, like there's like, I feel like people have like an idea of this already because it is like a fucking like cartoon stereotype where it's like you can.
Oh, the reporter with the fedora. And
and like you could see in like fucking SpongeBob. There's like probably a reporter character has like a loose tie and like a short sleeve button-up shirt or something. Yeah, but it's like one of those things where you just like pick up, like watch again. Like I watch a lot of movies and. Like Yeah, and so it's one of those things where you pick up watching movies of characters that are journalists, and also, uh, I mean, I was involved in like journalism and like even when I was a history major in high school and then in community college, and so meeting people there, you also just I just kind of made observations because I notice people's clothes, I notice what they wear,
Yeah.
and I'm also like as we talked about, this is kind of like cinematic dressing. I'm dressing for the like it's dressed for the job you want. Essentially, I'm dressing for the character that I want to be. Like to put off the right vibes.
Do you think that you dress like a certain era of reporter?
I
You
mean, I
know?
think I think I obviously I'm a vintage guy. I wear a lot of vintage clothes, and I don't. I feel like I have a lot. Like if I'm dressing for an assignment, I won't. I don't want to go too old school. I don't like to go like the 1930s like journalist or whatever.
Little
Um,
press card in the fedora.
I probably I think it looks cool, but I just think it's like it's one of those things where it's like it's kind of like too goofy. Like I wouldn't want people to think I'm like at that point,
Cosplaying.
yeah, no, at that point, someone might think it's like, oh, is this guy filming like a bit for fucking like YouTube or TikTok or something?
There you go.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think I have like, like the 60s and 70s, like the kind of mid century, like, fucking like Watergate, like Pentagon Papers, all that stuff. That's kind of like the heyday of American journalism.
I mean, yeah,
And
I
so
remember like watching we watched The Post,
that's
and
right.
like in the
It's an
opening
okay
scene,
movie. Not very
yeah,
good, but
yeah, with the opening scene, right? You have a guy who
yeah,
gets the
Daniel
papers,
Daniel Ellsberg.
yeah, and he's wearing like a jungle jacket or M43 or M65, one of those
Hmm.
things with like an OCBD, you
Yeah,
know?
and I mean, like, there's like later. I mean, I still think he looks so cool in that movie because later you do see him wearing like a sawtooth shirt with like a suede or like corduroy vest or something like that.
Yeah,
Um, and I feel like we talked about the work or sorry, not the IV aspect of like OCBDs and chinos and stuff like that. But I
yeah,
also do like doing the kind of more like 60s quote unquote like subversive journalist whatever,
hmm,
where you're mixing in some elements of like the mid-century counterculture.
yeah. I really like I always like that type of style
Mm-hmm.
because it's not super straightforward. Um, and yeah, it's always interesting. I mean, some of the best photos from that era that I have, not just as inspiration, but just great photographs, are always like student protesters. And I feel like
Yeah.
I think that reporters kind of dress similarly, especially if they're
Yeah.
covering such things.
And I like the vibe, like I like the military surplus. Like one, I like I just think it looks cool. I mean, I like the fact that like practically like the clothing is built to last or whatever. It is like durable and all this stuff that appeals to the like Reddit brain in me or whatever. But then I
Yeah.
also I love how it looks. Like I said, I kind of like the mid-century counterculture vibes, but also like it's it works well for the actual work that I do, and also I just like the a lot of journalists, or at least again mostly the good ones, the ones that I'm trying to emulate, were not like rich people or whatever. They didn't have like a whole lot of money to spend on clothes, and so you do see that a lot. Like reporters in the 60s and 70s who would be wearing military surplus clothes because you could get it at like a surplus store for really cheap, and
Yeah.
I just like that vibe.
Is it a requirement of journalist style to be thrifty, you think?
I feel like it's not because I still do journalism wearing like fucking Alden loafers and stuff
There
like
you go.
that.
Yeah.
But I never want to look like out of touch or whatever when I'm talking to people. I like to look a little bit down to earth. And so even though I still will wear like sport coats and stuff like that when I'm
Yeah.
covering stuff, I try to dress it down with other things.
Yeah,
Um,
well, let's think about like what's obviously you have a wardrobe,
yeah,
have comparable ones to us. What pieces in it do you think are like the most like journalist?
I always tell people like jungle jackets. Honestly,
Yeah, yeah,
like because I gave away my like Uniqlo jungle jacket to someone else in the newsroom. because it is like kind of, I don't know,
It's
is
slim.
like, it's like, well, no, it's like the jungle jacket is kind of like, if I had to open up my own brand and give it like a dumbass like SEO name, it would call it like the journalist jacket, because like a couple of the details, like the pockets fit like a notebook perfectly. Like there's
Yeah.
the special pen pocket, which I think is so cool. That's like
Oh,
my
that's
favorite.
right.
My
Yeah.
favorite detail in clothing is dedicated pen pockets. I have a couple work shirts that have that, and I want 100 more. Um, but the like expand, like the pockets that expand are really helpful because like really, I mean, like I say it's like workwear, but as a most of the time, unless you're doing something crazy, like unless you're like a fucking like war reporter or something, or like in the middle of like a hurricane or tornado or something,
Yeah.
you're at most the physical labor that you're going to be doing for the most part is just like running around, like maybe trying to like interview people, or if you're taking photos or video, you might have to like crouch or potentially like climb on things or whatever to get good angles. And so it's not like you don't really have to do it like wear anything like super performance or super super like hardcore.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like, you know, I do the really basic like jeans and sport coat thing all the time, but that's also like just the easiest thing and most, and like to wear, covering stories. It's like comfortable. Like I don't have to worry about like my jeans ripping for the most part. I don't wear my super distressed ones when I'm covering stories. But yeah.
What do you, if you had to add more things
Uh-huh.
to your wardrobe, like what else would you like? What do you not own that you think would be like a
Ooh,
journalist kind of
that's
a look?
that's kind of tough. I feel like, I mean,
And most
I
of what
like
you wear already works. Like, I mean, I know
it
you said
does. Like
jungle jacket. What about like the other like like the Mr. Freedom jacket that you have?
I wear that all the time too, because that's a good one,
Okay.
because the inside, like the breast pocket is like literally the perfect size for like a reporter's notebook, which is super
Hmm.
cool. But that one's nice because yeah, it's like it's a durable jacket. It's also relatively plain and stuff like that, so it's not anything. It's not really anything like flashy or something that stands out, which is again kind of good. You want to. I don't like to. I don't necessarily like to blend in, but also when I'm covering events and I'm just like standing around in a corner or something because there's not really like official like a seat for me, or if I'm like walking around taking photos, I don't want to be too much of a distraction for everyone else, because that's going to make people not like me.
That's true.
Yeah,
Do people notice you though? Like how like what's
I
people's
th-
like reaction to
I do
like
get
seeing you?
reaction. Like I was covering something over the summer when it was really hot, and most of the time I kind of make it a rule, like not to wear a fedora. Like if I'm covering things, because I'm like
Okay.
that is when people are gonna be like, oh, you got the fucking press hat or whatever. But it was like really hot. I just wore like my khakis and like a chambray shirt with like my Western fedora. I did get a
Okay.
couple people. One person explicit, like I interviewed like a local politician, and they explicitly said it's like, oh yeah, it's like, you know, I felt like when I saw you dressed like this, like I could like essentially like trust you not to like fuck up the interview or something.
Oh, nice.
There were a couple other people who like complimented my outfit, but I do get people. There are a lot of times, and I'm not trying to brag. There are a lot of times when I'll like meet someone to interview with them or whatever, and I'll get compliments on my outfit, which is always a plus. Like again, you just kind of want to. It's nice to go in with that little bit of goodwill that you get, and it's something that I also, you know, I I encourage a lot of my peers to dress up more because of that.
Has it worked so far? I mean, what do your, not to disparage them, but like what do they wear? What do your coworkers,
So a lot. I
fellow
mean, like I said,
journalists?
a lot of at least like younger journalists. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of I know a lot of people who wear just kind of like business casual all the time.
Okay.
Um,
That's kind of
especially
what you're doing.
that is
Kind
kind of
of.
what I'm doing. I'm just doing it
Yeah.
cooler. Like older journalists, I notice they just like their dog. You know, the spotlight is pretty accurate in terms of like how how schlubby like reporters.
Spotlight? What's that?
Oh, it's the Michael Keaton.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah, but it's like a lot of like loose OCBDs or those like REI like performance like hiking shirts or whatever with the weird front flap thing.
I don't know what that is.
I'll find pictures of it. It's like kind of like a grandpa shirt or something, but those shirts are really popular, along with like fishing vests.
I was gonna say, because I mean, like
fishing
to me, that reminds me more of like what photographers would wear. But do you see like regular writers kind of wear that?
I do.
Like,
I mean, it's like the other thing is like a lot of reporters. I mean, you have to like now you definitely have to also be a photographer, because
interesting.
Like that's one of the things that I don't know. I'm a person that gets bored easily, and so I like the fact that in journalism, there's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of roles, and so most reporters are also photographers. If you're working in broadcast, a lot of times you're gonna be like they're like KTLA. Sometimes when I'm covering events, sometimes they'll have like a team of like 2 or 3 people. But a lot of times it's like the reporter drives himself in the truck. He like sets up the camera for like the stand-up shot or whatever, and then like does everything. It's like one guy. Like he goes out with the camera, finds the angles, like gets the interviews and all that stuff. And it's just one person.
He has to like edit it together, right? Like,
well, I mean, it's like at that point. The times that I've seen him, they've been doing like interviews, like, or I think like they've been talking to anchors in the studio or whatever.
Okay.
So I'm assuming then it's just getting spliced into the feed. But yeah, I mean, depending on the size of the network that you're working for, you might be doing your own editing and stuff like that. You're just going to be your own producer. And I mean, one of the things that's like, again, I just kind of it's sometimes it's not good because it's just like, oh wow, these news agencies are just hiring less people because they want to pay people less money. But it's all, I don't know. I sometimes like the opportunity to have to exercise some ingenuity or like, I don't know, just think outside the box to figure stuff out.
That's crazy. I mean, like, I'm not overly familiar, but I have heard of, like you said, like the anchor, not the anchor, but like the correspondent, I guess, or reporter to be like, to film stuff. And I feel like I've seen someone have to like edit some stuff together as like B-roll as they're like, they play it as they're like talking over it, like they have to splice it in. That's crazy. And I feel like, maybe some people's temptation would be like, oh, if I had to do all that, I wouldn't want to wear anything too sweaty because I'm like, doing all that kind of stuff.
That's like a lot of people's attitude, and I also understand it because it's like, yeah. But at the same time, I have such a I can't. I think I'm probably talked about this on the podcast before. I have a very like look good, feel good mentality, where I don't like working unless I'm like. I don't like working in pajamas or sweats or something that I'm like not. Yeah. I don't feel ready. Like I'm like, listen, I can, when it gets hot, I can work in like fucking like shorts or whatever, but I have to have like a cool like button up on or something. I have to have something. And so I don't know, at least for me, like I am willing to sacrifice a little bit of comfort just to feel more I'm ready to work, I guess. Like that's my other kind of Reddit brain thing is I'm like the guy that's like I like to fucking feel prepared at all times, which is why I have like my backpack filled with like clothes and like a toothbrush in my trunk. For a while I was carrying around a multi-tool and stuff like that until I had to take it off when I went to Disneyland and lost it forever. But like I just like, I don't know, the feeling of like someone being like, hey, does anyone have like a screwdriver or something, and then me being able to pull it out. It's like, I have one right here. That's like I get
Boy Scout stuff right there.
Yeah.
But okay, so like what do you have to bring with you as a journalist, like on you? And did we talk about bags at all either? Like,
what do you have when you're
reporting?
So depending on what I'm wearing and how like what it is I'm covering, I will. So I just have a bunch of like old military bags that I picked up from like Joyride or whatever, um, which are small enough to just fit like a water bottle, a couple like notebooks, like pens, like a voice recorder, camera batteries, some sunscreen, etc. But that's like basically, at least in my experience, that's all I've needed to carry. Like notebooks, camera batteries, voice recorder are the big ones. And it's like that's the other reason why military clothing is good, because it's big pockets. They're usually pretty expansive. They fit a lot of stuff, and so I don't. It's nice when I don't have to bring a bag. Like if I'm not going to be out there for like 6 hours or whatever, and I don't need a bottle of water, then I prefer to just go with a jacket.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's man. I've never really had to think about what to wear.
Yeah, because
from work.
Because there's I don't know. Have you ever done the like? Do you dress for the job you want? Like, do you think that?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I account managers, they don't really wear. I mean, they probably look closer to the finance guys than they do,
Yeah.
or business or tech bros maybe than a journalist, you know. And I guess with journalists, like you don't have to wear all the stuff that you're
No, you don't.
wearing.
Absolutely
You
not.
could have everything in like a fucking like JanSport backpack if you wanted
Yeah.
to, you know. So I do admire hearing this, because I see it. I know what a journalist looks like. I've seen movies. I've seen all the
Yeah.
President's Men. There's a way to wear tailoring and look like a journalist, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like, Robert Redford and his fucking all his Ralph Lauren or whatever in that movie looks so cool. And then Dustin Hoffman, I think he's the more ratty, like schlubby guy. But he looks pretty sick too.
What about oh yeah, well, how about this? What are some journalist icons of style maybe?
Oh man. Well, I guess like go. Like, this is mostly gonna be from movies, I think. But I mean, basically every character in All the President's Men.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean, like I already said, like I love the corduroy outfit that Robert Redford wears as Woodward. I was trying to remember which one he was for a second. But the other character that I really like, I feel like you'd like too, slightly less, like more elegant, is Jason Robards as Ben Bradley. We can look up some pictures of the real Ben Bradley, but he is their editor. He wears like some like slick Chelsea boots in one scene. There's another scene where he's like wearing like a bow tie and pocket square and stuff like that to talk to
and
them.
like a blazer, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he's wearing horse bits in the scene? That's kind of cool.
Right? Yeah, but he's I like that is kind of like, I don't know, maybe the other direction.
Because there is like the fancy journal. I mean, maybe because like obviously
that's more like that's more like editor or columnist style.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, columnist. Yeah, I feel like if I anything, I'm closer to like a because I mean I'm just writing about what I like, right? So it's just So yeah, I do think that it's cool to like. There's a lot of subgenres in journalist stuff because I mean, you could be a journalist for whatever. I mean, you could think about like I guess menswear writers would technically be journalists.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, most of them
like,
are journalists in a sense, right?
And I mean, there are like different like sports reporters dress a certain way, like tech journalists like dress a certain way and stuff like that. And we could talk. Who's our favorite TV sports guy who always wears?
Oh my God, what's his name? On-screen personalities, I guess. Constantly, journalists, like interviewer, host.
And like, there's a guy on KTLA who one of the anchors on KTLA, I think, has pretty good style. Where a lot of times he's wearing like very classic patterns. His suits fit well. There's the other sports reporter who I can't remember his name, but he wears the fattest tie knots of all time. And he like said it's like, oh yeah, this is specifically to like, this is my gimmick. This is how I get attention.
Oh my God, I can't find the guy that we were talking about.
We'll find a picture and he'll be in the blog post.
He'll be in there. I mean, the funny thing is like technically like this could be applied to. I guess like Scott Ackerman too, right? I mean,
Okay.
he's a fake journalist.
He's a broadcaster.
Like, fake, yeah,
He's a host.
yeah. Where do you see the line with
I don't
journalism?
think.
Okay,
I feel like that's an interviewer, not necessarily.
Okay.
Like you wouldn't call like Johnny Carson like a journalist, I don't think, or Jay Leno or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I was like I'm trying to think of like where I would like I kind of want to, maybe we should call it, to narrow it down further, just we should be calling it like reporter style.
Okay.
Because like what I'm thinking is like specifically, I'm not thinking like, you know, the editor at the desk or whatever. I'm not thinking the like cushy columnist guy. Like what I'm thinking, like the style that I'm trying to emulate that I like are like the, you know, fucking like gumshoe like reporters or whatever who are working for like their local paper and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I mean, you know, take like I feel this is all. This is like, you know, like we talked about, kind of related to cinematic dressing, but I feel like my style, like, you know, a lot of my interests are visible. Like you would be able to guess what I'm interested in based on what I look like, which I think some people might be like embarrassed about. It's like, oh my God, I'm so predictable. But I kind of like creating like the unified world of Spencer.
I mean, I unified Spencer theory.
Yeah.
I actually, there was a TikTok I just had. Well, actually, I can't take credit for it. This guy, brother with a beard, I forgot his actual name. That's his TikTok. But he wrote about how, or he didn't write. This is TikTok. He said that your style should be an extension of your passion. So it's like, you know, it's the art, it's the movies you like, etc. And I responded to it saying like, this is great. And I was talking about how like the way I dress, like I know I look like a fucking nerd.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then I kind of juxtaposed it with like footage of like, yo, look at my Star Wars Black Series stuff. I'm like, also, it's not surprising that I like shoot film, you know, like this. It's like, I know it's hard to like, you know, if you're not wearing a merch T-shirt, but I do think people can be like, if they said, oh, you're a reporter, Spencer, okay, I see it. Like that's the whole thing.
I mean, like that's kind of like why I carry around like the notebook and stuff like that.
I was gonna ask you about
it's like
that,
not like a prop, because I want to say like I do actually like write in the notebooks. Like I go through them. But it is like one of those things where it's like, I don't know. It's like it's like a pastor who, you know, goes around wearing the clerical collar all the time. just letting people know that's like, I'm still on duty or whatever. And like I said, I like feeling prepared. Like, I don't know. I'm always worried that something is going to come up. Like maybe I'll be standing around and I don't know, the president gets assassinated in front of me. And like, I have to do a breaking news story about it. I want to have my notebook on me.
You're, right now you work for the school newspaper, but like in the future, like, do you think you'd have to be like, but seriously, like ready to go? Like, I don't know how it works. Are people like, I mean, presumably they're assigned stories. I don't know if, like...
I mean, so a lot of times, like for example, we had a breaking news story this morning, which it's already published on the website, and by the time this episode comes out,
it's old news.
It's old news, but so I think I can say it. But anyway, our university president just out of the blue announced his retirement today. It was a pretty unexpected thing, and so I mean, this I don't know if this is like, again, my experience. I don't want to sound like a seasoned like New York Times journalist. I work at my school paper, but based on my experience, this is how it went down. And talking to our advisor, it's similar enough to like how it goes down at like a professional, like medium-sized paper or whatever.
Okay.
But an editor will get a tip, or you know, sometimes that comes directly from the reporter. And at least this morning, I got the tip from our advisor because the president announced it first through like an email just sent only to faculty. So he texted me at like 10 a.m. and was like, hey, just got this. And so then I immediately got in touch with our news editor who assigned it to a reporter. And so it's also different for us because right now, like the things that are obviously different at a school paper is we have to rehire our entire staff every 6 months, which obviously doesn't happen at a commercial paper. And so right now, at least at the time of recording, we are really short staffed. And so that kind of makes it easier to like figure this stuff out because you don't have to go through a lot of people to assign something. It's just kind of like, well, there are like 6 people here. So let's like one of us is going to have to do it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is like usually if you're a reporter, you are working on a beat, which is you're working on the same topic over and over and over again. And so like if there's a bus strike, then the editor who's working on that is probably going to talk to someone on like the transportation beat or something first. Just because they know, you know, all the players, they know all the information and stuff like that. And it's easier just to have one person writing about the same topic and kind of building that institutional knowledge than it is assigning it to a bunch of random people every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
A
Not
lot
crazy,
of stuff, like, I don't know, a lot of
but
stuff goes on in news production. That I think is
I mean,
really, I
stuff's
don't know, I just
always
think
happening, right?
yeah, it is always
Like that's
happening. That's the thing. It's literally, stuff is always happening. Like even last night as we were editing, like the power like went out like on a couple buildings on campus, and we didn't end up writing anything about it because we were like fucking tired, and it was like it's a Sunday night, no one was on campus anyway. But it's like one of those things where we did have to, like, we did start like making calls and like preparing and shit like that,
okay.
because yeah, you have to be ready.
So what is it about journalism? Maybe this is like not. This is more of like a personal thing, but like, what
Yeah.
is it about it that's so intriguing?
Well, like I said, like I can get bored easily, and so the fact that like in journalism, I mean, I was just talking about beats, but instead, like at least in my experience, every day is like a little bit different. You get the opportunity to. I've always just been someone that likes knowing things, and I don't like not knowing things, I guess. And so you get a lot of you get to talk to a lot of interesting people. You get to learn a lot of interesting things and stuff like that. I like short form writing because again, like I've tried to do like more long term like creative stuff, or even just like long form journalism. And I just kind of, I don't know, it's easier for me when I can like finish something in like a week or like a couple weeks at most or something, and then move
And
on
move
to the
on to
next
the
thing.
next. Gotcha.
Yeah. Like I said, I just kind of like, you know, the like you have to like, yeah, like just the things that I've learned that are gonna, I feel like are gonna be useful even if I don't go into journalism as a career, are just like the knowledge of public records and like what information is available to the public and what's not, has actually helped me out a lot, and the ability to just like find information online is
Okay.
good. Um, but yeah, I don't know, just like I said earlier, just kind of having to have some ingenuity and resourcefulness and stuff like that, and building some like it's like theoretically practical skills. And it's one of the, it's like, you know, one of those things where it's like I've always enjoyed writing, and I don't necessarily want to be in academia my whole life, so that's part of the reason why I got out of like my history degree. And I, you know, it's one of the ways you can do writing that's not like PR or copywriting or creative writing, but also not like working at a university forever.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So to go back to what we talked about at the beginning of this, like,
Mm-hmm.
how does the qualities of this job, and we talked a little bit about, or a lot about, like the practical stuff. Like, how does this show up in your style, like your approach to style? Not necessarily in your, the pieces you pick, but
Yeah.
like the mindset about it.
I mean, I think I do have a pretty like simple style. Like, it's not like it's very like straightforward, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
it's quote unquote. Like, well, I don't know. It's like what I was talking about earlier, where it's like you can get everything you need to know about me by looking at me and my clothes. I feel like it is it tells the story of me, I guess.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you take it, like, what's some intentional stuff that you used to point toward? I mean, there might be crossover, right? Like, if you have your notebook in your pocket.
I think that is like a big. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, you know, I do that a lot. I always have like a pen or notebook on me.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, like I feel like I'm talking a lot about like what I wear on assignment versus what I don't like, wear. But it's
That's
like
what I was gonna
my
say.
my
Yeah.
style. It's very similar. Like the only time, like I'll wear something like cool or like quote unquote like flashy or whatever when we're hanging out or when I'm going to like a fashion event. But at least when like day to day when I'm because I don't I'm on my since this is my last semester I don't have that many classes, but I'm still on campus every day just because I have like meetings and stuff like that. Um, and I feel like it's I don't know it's very simple. Like I don't wear my camo pants a lot. I feel like it's weird. I don't know why. I feel like camo pants are a lot louder than camo jackets. I feel like we're gonna go on a digression for a second, but that like camouflage jackets I wear a lot, obviously. But
That's
like
because
every
most
time,
people wear camouflage jackets in general. Not many people wear camouflage pants.
yeah,
So like in the minds of the common man,
the common man,
pants are crazy, you
yeah,
know?
pants are
Um
crazy. John
two
Mayer,
tubes.
yeah.
Two tubes. But okay, so you said a little bit about like, when you're off duty, like
Mm-hmm.
do you want to do like more, I mean, like you said, like you wear, when it's not a fashion event, you do look more like a journalist. Like
Mm-hmm.
do
I
you
mean,
want more of that, like do you...
like I kind of yeah. It's like it's a part of. I think it's like an aspect of who I am, and like I said, I like that my style is kind of like um it's easy to get to know me from that. And so it's like yeah, one of those things where it's like you said earlier where it's like when I introduce myself and I can tell people that I'm in journalism or whatever, it's kind of nice when they're like, oh yeah, that seems right. That looks right. Like I like looking the part, I guess.
What other steps do you think you take to make that happen? Like do you think you do that, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
do you,
mean,
do you
like
want to fill it in?
we're talking a lot about style, but I mean, I do. To be clear, I'm not getting into this because I'm like, oh, it's a cool aesthetic or whatever. Like,
Right.
a lot of this like non-style, like I don't know, I do. I keep up with the news. Like, I try to read a lot, because like I like carrying around books, not just because it's part of the look, which it kind of is, to be honest. But I also like reading because I feel like it's kind of like lame to be like, oh, I'm like working out when I'm reading, but it's like I don't know, it's I'm improving my craft like theoretically. Like when I read, I do kind of like examine like sentence structure and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I edit things in my head a little bit. Like I've talked about, I don't like texting because it takes me forever to send a text because I'm like I rewrite it like 5 or 6 times trying to find the best way to write it. And I think we've met, like, we talked about like you don't really do that with your style, where it's like sometimes I'll do that. It's like I put on an outfit and I like edit it where I'm like, oh, this shirt isn't very good, and I try on like a couple different shirts until I find the perfect one. And you said that you don't do that, right?
That happens before I put it on my body.
Yeah.
So like once it's on my body, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would say, okay, so for this, okay, this is off topic. This is
Well,
we're
no, now we're
winding
just
down.
getting into your style. Like we can,
Yeah.
that maybe that'll be another upcoming episode. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the hell it is because it's just Ethan. But
well, it's just
okay,
Ethan
so,
style. You could just,
yeah.
I like dress like my job, so it's easy for me. But you could.
I
Just
don't,
do, like, Ethan
I don't
style.
dress. Yeah, I don't have a job. I guess I dress like my passions.
Do
But
you think you dress like I don't know, like a creative, like or like
I mean, I guess so.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I'm like it's weird. Like the word creative. Like I know I'm not like a fucking painter or
uh-huh.
whatever. But I do that for fun. But we'll get into that in the future. But I do want to say for the purposes of this discussion,
Yeah.
I all I had was this shirt, a sawtooth shirt, and my
Mm-hmm.
suede fringe jacket, and I didn't have anything else. So, it's not tailored. I knew I was going bowling, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to wear trousers. I also don't want to wear anything like too slim or restrictive. Um, I say while wearing a denim shirt, but
Yeah.
hey, it'll break. I wanted this to break in, and I did try on two different pairs of pants,
Mm-hmm.
which is not a lot. That doesn't sound like I already. It sounds like I already had the idea in my head. It was either going to be khaki flares or jeans, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't. My dungarees are not They're not in service right now because I'm getting them hemmed.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I don't edit that much, and I think it also shows in my writing that I don't edit anything at all. And
Yeah.
so people have to tell me, hey, that doesn't make sense. I go, oh shit, let me go fix that, because I'm just writing as I go. It's like it's yeah. I'm like. I guess you can edit while painting, I guess,
Yeah.
but like I'm like, oh shit, that doesn't work well. Too bad. I'm gonna keep
Well,
going.
it's like, I don't know. You're more like a maximalist, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to be clear. I think you know this. I like the blog. I'm not. This is none of this. I just want to say
Not
that
Kiyoshi.
none of this is a criticism of the blog necessarily, but it is like a very different style. Like the way that you write is like very different than the any of the writing that I do or the way that I write.
Yeah.
And like I said, I feel like maybe this will have to be in the Ethan style episode, but I feel like there's like, I'm always like seeing what I can like cut down and make like cleaner and more, I don't know, elegant is the word that I use a lot when writing, but I don't know if I describe my style as like elegant. Maybe
I mean,
would.
I think to make this more about you, I think journalist style is more pragmatic in my eyes. I mean, I know it's not pragmatic in terms of like versatility, whatever. I mean, I guess that is kind of a part of it though. Like a lot of what you wear could be used for whatever you want. But I definitely think if you have a pragmatic way of writing,
I think pragmatic. Pragmatic is the way to describe it. Yeah.
And if your style is about communicating this, I don't know if I would use the word no nonsense, but very fact driven. I mean, it makes sense to be minimal. Minimal isn't inherently a part of it, because I know we've seen journalists who have like crazy style.
And because I feel like I'm also like not the most minimal, obviously, because I still like do a lot of accessories. Like I still wear like jewelry and stuff like that. I still like hats, but none of it. I like the stuff that's like, I don't know, that's like simple and blends in. And like I like my ID bracelet because it's like I've seen so many photos of like war correspondents and stuff like that who didn't necessarily serve, but they still just started wearing like a fucking ID bracelet and stuff like that.
That is cool. Yeah, the cool thing about this whole aesthetic, which I guess is probably 90% of what you wear. The other part of it is like milsurp / Western wear / whatever. But yeah, I do like that it's still kind of rooted in the past, right? It's not like, cause like, I mean, yeah, if I had no knowledge of previous menswear and I thought about, being a journalist, it would be like, sport coat or some kind of practical jacket with pockets that looks nice, business casual appropriate. And it kind of makes sense. But it's cool that even with that like general idea, it still can reference the past. There's still stuff to draw from. And it's pragmatic, I think. I guess for the purposes of anyone listening to this podcast who has an issue with us being anti-pragmatic in the past two episodes, the pragmatism shows up in other areas. It's not in the purchase part of it. It's in the styling part of it, I guess, which I think is cool.
Yeah. But like I said, I love my clothes for the aesthetic reasons, and I get like I just enjoy wearing them, and there's all that ethereal stuff. But I think I have a little bit of Reddit brain where like I'm like on my everyday carry shit, being like, look how much stuff I can fit in my pockets.
Yeah, I mean that's me too. Except I'm bringing camera stuff with me now at this point. Now it's just in around my neck the whole time,
like the albatross.
I don't know what is that one?
The Ancient Mariner or whatever, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. The albatross around his neck.
No, I don't know what that is.
Hold on,
maybe I have heard of this.
It's like a famous poem, and it's about a sailor. Oh God, the new Wikipedia looks so bad. I forgot. Holy shit.
It's bad. It's not
wow. Good. Sorry, everybody. Reacting live to the new Wikipedia.
Talk about journalism. Talk about the place of facts.
That's right. And anybody can edit it.
I just saw a bad meme of it.
Of the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. Are people doing
just
memes?
I think it's just. I mean, memes are kind of, maybe comics, maybe. Oh man, I just saw Hillary Clinton with the albatross around her neck. I don't understand. What does this mean?
So at the Ancient Mariner, he kills an albatross that annoys him, and then a bunch of misfortune befalls his ship. And so I'm like, this is from memory. Maybe I'm getting some details wrong because I
It
haven't
says
read it
here
since like high school. But
it's
then he
supposed
wears
to be
Then they put the albatross around the dead albatross around his neck to remind him of his sins.
Yeah, it says it hinders your ability to succeed.
Yeah. What is your albatross?
Oh, probably my DUI. Just kidding. That's fake. That's not real. You can look it up. I do not have a DUI.
Future employers.
Future employers, I do not own or have.
I do not own a DUI.
Yeah, a dirty undercarriage.
Internet.
Yeah.
If you like the dirty undercarriage internet, you should check out Pornhub.com. Yeah.
Oh, Pornhub.com. DUI porn.
There you go.
Do you think? Okay, here's the thing. Do you think right now, right? Like I think you said, like you like these like local stuff. Do you think your style would change if you covered different types of events? Like, what if you? I mean, I guess it'd be hard for you to go into like food journalism if you're not.
I feel like I don't know. Like, yeah, if I did, I don't know. I feel like my style will be like the kind of journalism that I want to go into. Like, if anything, it might just. I don't know. I don't necessarily think I want to be a Beltway reporter or something, but if I get a job and they say it's like, hey, we're going to put you on the like White House like press junket or whatever,
you'd be like, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's like, but it's like the other thing, like those guys, they do have to wear like suits and ties and stuff like that. And so then I feel like I would probably get a little bit more fancy. I don't know. It's like,
yeah, you'd be more like me wearing a tie every day, dude.
But see, like I said, there's a difference in my mind between like reporter style and editor style. It's like it's all in the minutia. But I feel like at that point I would just like I would be okay dressing a little bit more wealthy. And because if you're doing that kind of thing, you're going to be doing less than like, you know, like someone fucking covering a parade or someone on the crime beat or something like that. You're just gonna, it's like a lot of it is just standing around and waiting. Like the one time that I covered a White House event. So again, I don't want to sound like I'm an expert at this, but the one time I covered it, it was like 90% just sitting there waiting for stuff to happen. And so that's when you could be like, yeah, I'll wear my fancy suit and silk tie and stuff like that.
I can't imagine it. I guess I'm not wearing one right now. Yeah. But I'm like, I can't imagine a day where I'm not wearing a sport coat and silk tie. You know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, I mean, hey, if you guys are interested in more inspo, I'm sure you guys can look at the blog post where Spencer will summarize his thoughts, because some people don't listen to the podcast, so they need it to be written out for them.
Yeah, those readers.
Yeah. What's up, readers?
How readers? How my bookheads at?
How my BH?
How my bookheads at? Is that a question that?
So no bookhead?
Ask? Yeah, so no bookhead.
What does that mean? Like the person is wearing a book on their head while they blow you?
I guess. I mean, maybe it's like, yeah. So you have the book open, and then maybe you could do a chin strap so it doesn't fall out.
Yeah, there's a new kink right there. What if you had to cover? What if you were like, hey, the only place that's reporting is like a sex journal? That sounds kind of cool,
like Fetish
actually.
Weekly.
Yeah, okay. In my head, I was thinking of like a cool counterculture sex positive thing.
Okay, but I was just thinking
I'm a reporter for a Penthouse.
Well,
wait, do they do reporting? I guess no. Playboy does.
Playboy had. Well, it's like, I don't. No, I think they did have like actual reporters. I don't know too much. The thing is, I missed out, man, because I occasionally will watch documentaries about like old. Like I watched a documentary about the National Enquirer, and boy, were they good to their reporters. Like it was like one of those gigs where you got paid like a really good salary, and you could just talk to your editor. It's like, hey, I want to go to Paris for like 3 months or something, and they'll be like, okay, you know, make sure you write at least one story, and like send you over there, no questions asked, like put you up in a hotel, fucking everything. There were reporters for I think like Life or something, who in European cities where there wasn't like an official bureau, they would just like put them in company housing, and they would have to like write like maybe 4 stories a month or something. Really cushy gig back then, but now it's not good. Like all these layoffs are happening right now, right before I graduate, which is making me feel really good about this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
No. Hey, it's like the French Dispatch, right? You want to be over there and just writing about
Over
nothing.
there and doing that. I mean, honestly, like every time I watch that movie, I'm like, oh man, I want to work for the French Dispatch.
Yeah, I see. If I was a writer, I would like that. I
Mm-hmm.
would definitely love to just. I mean, the whole dream. If I'm, if I wanted to be a journalist or whatever, I guess
Mm-hmm.
self-journalism. That's just called being a diary or a blogger.
Yeah.
But to like live somewhere and have someone pay me just to write about what I did.
Mm-hmm. That's like at that point, then you're kind of like just a travel writer.
Yeah, I mean that's what
Yeah.
we just described. What W. Brown just
That's
literally
right.
does.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally said in that podcast episode, like what you said, like we're like back in the glory days, like they would just go to fucking I don't know. I was gonna say Saint Croix. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
what the hell the
I know
fucking
what you're
French
St. Croix.
Saint Croix. I don't know, something like that
Yeah.
probably.
But yeah, I mean,
Where
yeah,
they would
it's
just be
like,
there and they just like, oh, I'll just like write like 4 stories, bill
mhm.
everything to the magazine. Sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's like used to be a license to print money.
Yeah. Wait. Would you? So you want to stay in like newspaper, or, like
I
magazine?
like
How about?
print. I like the thing is because I like being able to hold up a paper, and also I mean it's like like honestly like there is slightly more job security in working at like a larger paper. They're not, I don't want to say they're like all like good and stuff like that, or like always like great to their like employees. Like a couple weeks ago at the New York Times, there was like a big employee walkout and stuff like that. But you generally like most of the time it's not going to be the same like sudden layoffs, I guess, that you see at uh other companies, or like a situation where the entire like newsroom gets shut down because like the
Right.
private equity firm that owns it decides they don't want to spend the money anymore, which happened at the OC Weekly. But yeah, just typically if you're at like a bigger paper that has a print operation, which only the big papers can afford to do now, you're going to have a little bit more job security. So there's
Right.
kind of like the sentimental reason of I just like being able to like hold up the paper that I made, but also a practical reason.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said political and like event
I
stuff,
yeah, I like doing hard
crime.
news stuff. Yeah, I mean, I like covering like politics and crime and stuff like that. I've never, I don't know, I have like a lot of thoughts about like movies and fashion and stuff like that. I feel like it's easier for me to write about movies than fashion, but it's just like maybe it's just because like it's such a like personal and like innate thing. I don't know, where it's hard for me sometimes to articulate my thoughts on fashion.
Dang, that's
Yeah.
cool. What about
Hmm.
what do you do like yeah, like magazine, like about like interest magazine stuff, like
Maybe like I don't know, like I could see myself doing that depending on like I said, I don't like I do like the fact that as a journalist I have an excuse just to like talk to interesting people and learn a bunch of new things. And as it depend like a lot of magazines, you'd have a little bit more free reign to do that because typically you're working on stories like over a longer amount of time, and stuff
yeah,
like that. A lot of times magazines might have a bigger budget because again there's not the same number of reporters covering the same number of stories. um, but at least for right now I think I'd like to just stay with like a news outlet, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
I'm gonna cut this. I'm not gonna stop, but my
Yeah.
headphones died, so just I'm gonna
Okay,
MJ,
you'll cut this
bear
part
with
out.
me because your audio is coming out of the same thing. Let me
So
fix
we're at
that
about
real quick.
102 minutes.
Yeah, 102 minutes, an
Yeah.
hour and 2 minutes.
102 hours. You haven't seen Skinnamarink, have you?
No.
I figure you're not going to see it. It's a spooky horror movie. There's a part where in the middle of it, there's like there's just a cut and it says like 532 days later, and it is that's a scary cut kind of in the
Yeah.
context of the movie. But anyway,
2 days later.
yeah,
Okay. All right. Ready?
yeah. Where were we?
I'm just gonna finish it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you, Spencer, for describing your style. I mean, this is. I know we call it journalist style or reporter style. It's just called Spencer style,
Yeah.
technically. I mean, hey, we still have the 10% of the Western workwear and milsurp stuff, but we already did milsurp a while back. We haven't done
Yeah.
our workwear one yet because
Did we do
I
a
don't know.
Western wear episode?
We have not. We
Maybe
have not.
that'll be in the cards.
We'll add that in. Yeah.
Hey, we live in Southern California. Historically, a lot of
The
Western
most
wear.
west.
I mean,
I guess
yeah.
not Hawaii and
It's
on
this
the
is
continental.
It's not like a cowboy town or anything, but it's like whenever I look at old photos of like Orange County, maybe it's because it was a Republican town, but whenever I look at old photos of Orange County, there's always guys in like cowboy hats or Western shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could shoot a Western here.
You
That's,
could.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Glass onion.
That could have been a Western.
It should be.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys want to see more, please check out the blog post that Spencer will have a little bit of write up and some photos there. But if you want to talk to him about it, and Spencer doesn't really answer DMs, you got to go to patreon.com/down direction and join our Discord, our Patreon only Discord. It is a great place. We are thankful for all the people who are in there who support the podcast, and there's a lot of great discussions just happening all the time. There's also the backlog of bonus episodes where we actually get to talk about movies. So Spencer gets a little about his fantasies of reviewing films by those episodes. So if you want to hear those full versions, subscribe. And $10 gets you access to both of those. And nothing else other than we thank you by name. So thank you to Shane Curry, Philip Gagard, Jarek Collian, Henrik Wilberg, and Alexander Batten. We appreciate you guys being our top tier Patreon, the Sadcast fanatics.
That's right.
I don't think there's anything else. I'm Ethan M1.
I'm Spencer DSO, and of course MJ's here. He's just so shy. MJ, producer. Thank you.
Producer. We'll see you guys. Yeah, we got more stuff happening this year. I don't know.
That's right.
Chinatown.
Stuff happening all the time. We're doing Chinatown
this month.
month.
For the month of this episode.
It might be up. I don't think it's gonna be out by the time this episode comes out.
No, it's not. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
But you'll see it. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.